Someone turn that hotel light off. Wait, no, turn it back off.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Neal Parks, Senior.
Is that right?
Hello, Neal.
Good morning. How are you?
Are you a senior?
I'm the only one, so yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, I think it's scarier, man.
I thought you meant AARP.
No. You got to go Neal Parks, Senior.
Okay.
So everyone knows. But here's the thing. You truly present terrifying tales. Now, this is going to be a digital album where you give like a verbal, kind of like a book on tape sort of deal?
Yeah, it's my first audiobook.
I love it,
It was
man.
really interesting to do that because I had to get into a state of mind because sometimes I would go through reading the story and having to re-record it over and over again because sometimes I would sound like Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek. And
Gotcha.
a lot of William Shatner pause moments.
Hey, so this is available for download where?
It's available through a launch site called Bandcamp.com, believe it or not.
Oh, okay, cool.
Bandcamp.
Yeah, I know Bandcamp. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's one time at Bandcamp, right?
So you're going to tell all kinds of ghostly and spooky stories in the book, and I'll let people check out that audio for another time. But let us know, man, around our surrounding areas, what are some of the age-old haunts that people could check out during COVID?
Well, during COVID, that's a given because I had many things planned for 2020, but
I know we were supposed to camp out at the prison, man. You know, we couldn't even do the prison. We were going to try to do some sort of like seance inside the Mansfield prison, and that all got shut down. Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, whether you're a believer or not, it's always fun to hear a good ghost story this time of the year, especially when they originate close to home. And Blood Prison, that's still going on. Of course, you're still advertising for it heavily, which is a fun tourist attraction. It's a great haunted hotspot, naturally anyway, and supernaturally speaking, but it's still generating business. I'm not sure. Maybe you can tell me more about the capacity, the amount of people allowed at any given moment to go through this tour. Have they lowered it due to COVID-19?
Well, I think what they're doing is they're just allowing like parties, like whoever you're with. You know, you can book a reservation and like cruise through with the people that you have been, I guess, exposed to the entire time.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you're going to endanger the spirits any. I don't think they're required to wear masks, but you are. Yeah,
I think they're good with the COVID. I mean, have you heard that people have experienced like real paranormal stuff up there at the prison?
Oh, yeah. A good friend of mine, she used to be the curator for the Mansfield Reformatory Archives area, and she led a lot of the tours back in 2010 through 2015 before she moved on to other career avenues. She would have whispers and voices come directly up to her ear saying incredibly inappropriate things to her. She would be touched or pushed. Things would fly across the office. They had night security cameras pick up movement and things on tables and on desks, things flying across the room. She showed me a few of those samples.
I'm telling you, when you're inside the prison, because I went during the concert up there, Incarceration, and so, you know, they weren't decorated for Blood Prison necessarily, but the whole thing is just spooky. Like, when you get away from a group and it's just you and, like, two other people, all of a sudden, man, it's just like this eerie, I'm not going to say, like, you know, I felt a ghost or anything, you know, like, I'm not going to discredit anyone else, but it's an eerie feeling where you're just like, I would not want to be in here alone in the middle of the night. And I'm not like a person who's like scared of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I just that would not be something I would willingly want to do. You know, like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go stand. Because I mean, literally, that you don't know. I mean, the inmates. There were a bunch of children that were living there. Yeah. Bad energy. But the whole place is magnificent. The way it was built, like the age in which it was built, like all of the architecture and everything, just the crown molding. I mean, it's like unbelievable.
Okay, so that's in Mansfield. What about Chillicothe? Because in 2010 you wrote it. You wrote a book, Haunted Chillicothe, Tales, Legends, Folklore, and True Ghost Stories. What is the most haunted place in Chillicothe?
Yeah, I done wrote that book. That book, I focused heavily on the Majestic Theater. There have been so many stories circulating around that location in particular from so many people that have shared it with me. Not just people in Chillicothe, but people who have gone through the Majestic, who are from other states and other parts of the world, the country, or for that matter. And the energy is the same at the Majestic as would be what Loper just explained that he felt at the Mansfield Reformatory. There's a lot of blood that was spilled in the alleyway between the Majestic and at what that time during the flu outbreak of 1918, which was a major pandemic in itself. And but we're not running out of room at this point to stockpile bodies, fortunately. But the morgue ran out of room because of the mass influx of the dead and the dying. And when they would do embalming, they did it on the stage of the Majestic, and they would drain the blood into the alleyway between the Majestic and what was the morgue at that time.
What is this?
There's a lot of strong negative energy in this town. And it's a river town, and most of your supernatural activity seems to go with the current flow of the water itself. It acts as a conductor, in my opinion.
Now, did any of that bad mojo float down to my people in Portsmouth? I mean, like...
Well, there's lots of creepy tales in Portsmouth, of course. I shared with you a while ago.
Is his name Jeremy Loper?
Hey, Rick, that's
Jeremy
disrespectful.
Loper?
That's disrespectful.
That's the wackiest story I know.
Hey, stop it.
No, is that banjo music? Wow.
We want Loper to feel at home.
Yeah, they're jerks. They're jerks.
So tell us about Portsmouth.
Don't feel bad, Loper. I grew up in Pike County. It's about the same.
Our fare's a little better, but that's okay.
Yeah, your fare is much better. I remember being, I think I was 8 or 9. I saw Lee Greenwood at the fair.
One of Randy's favorites. That's one of Randy's favorites. Yeah, it's Scioto County Fair, huh? Man, they had one of the best demolition derbies this country's ever seen.
Yeah.
Huh? You want to make demolition derbies great again?
Yeah.
Go to the Scioto County Fair.
Love it.
So what's haunted? What's haunted in Scioto County?
Scioto County, you have the main walking wall area near the river.
Like the flood wall?
The murals,
Yeah, the flood wall. Allegedly, people have thrown themselves from, and I'm not sure how shallow or how deep that part of the water is.
Roy Rogers, I heard.
Breaking their ankles, but they are known to jump from the flood wall, or people have committed suicide near that area by shooting themselves. It's something to do with that area. I don't know if it's because they're looking at Kentucky and get really sad.
No, well, I think it's the confluence of the rivers. That's where the Ohio and the Scioto meet.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
How about the Athens Lunatic Asylum, which is now called the Ridges?
Yeah, they've been using that for a while now as one part, the art museum for the college, for the campus itself. Every now and then, in certain parts, certain wings that are open to the public, they'll have ghost tours. But from what I've been told this year, they canceled those operations.
They said they did a bunch of lobotomies there between the 1800s and the 1993 is when that psychiatric facility was shut down.
Wow,
they did a bunch of lobotomies there, and supposedly there's been a lot of paranormal sightings there.
And also, there were a lot of patients that they kept there well into the early 90s, like you just mentioned, and then they ended up flooding them into nursing facilities in Pike County and Ross County. So a lot of them are still alive and living in these nursing facilities and experienced that mental torment in those institutions.
No way.
One of which, it was a job I had after college. I worked as an office manager and HR director for I will not name nursing facility in Pike County, and a resident who formerly was from the Ridges area, they brought her in, and she had been raped when she was much younger and had a child, and they surrendered the child and all. And I found this out after her death, that she actually had a child. She was raped by an orderly, and they took the child from her and put it in the system. But she passed away at the nursing facility, and I approached her after she had her stroke, and she's, unfortunately dead on the floor, non-responsive. and I hear down the hall one of the other residents yelling her name and yelling at her to get out of her room. And this was a resident. They hated that resident. They never got along. They always fought like cats and dogs. So I walked down the hall, and I'm confused as to why she's calling her name out after she had just died minutes before. And I'm standing in the doorway, and this woman is like shouting at the corner of the room, and for her to get out of her room now. Get out, or I'm going to call such and such nurse. And then it started to calm down a little bit. And I'm looking in here and seeing her respond to the corner of her room that way. Then looking back down the hallway and seeing that this resident is in fact still dead on the floor.
So she was seeing her ghost.
That is wild.
I mean, one would think.
Starting her hauntings with her enemies.
Yeah, right.
I like that.
She's like, I'm going out. I know what exactly what I'm doing. I'm going right to Brenda's room.
You're a scary guy, man. Does your wife sleep like right next to you, or does she like around October 1st? She's like, I'm going to go sleep in the other room for a little while. You're so scary. I mean,
well, it's fortunate because I have sleep apnea, so I have to sleep with like a Top Gun face mask all the time. I have severe sleep apnea. I've had it for years and had no idea. Like my brain's been starving for oxygen for decades, but I've managed to survive this long.
Hey, listen, so my buddy, Dr. Oz, sent me a pillow.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it's actually for that.
No,
and
it's really for me because I don't have to listen to you snore anymore, and it's been delightful.
I thought she was going to kill me with it. But you might want to look into it, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first, but I reread the directions, and you're just supposed to lay on it.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. He's going to be on the show when, Rick? When's Dr. Oz back on?
Sometime tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
My doctor, Dr. Oz.
Oh, that's me. Your doctor.
Oh,
He cured my tennis elbow, Neil. Do you believe it?
I'm sorry?
He cured my tennis elbow.
Randy had tennis elbow. He fixed it right away.
Yeah.
I mean,
I heard you're quite the tennis connoisseur.
I do love to play. I have practice today. I have a clinic with my friends on my whole team.
So what are the signs that you're seeing a ghost? I'm convinced that Randy's seeing ghosts on a pretty regular basis.
Well, like
not like stepping out on me, but I just feel like she ignores it. I think she has the ability to communicate with the other side
because I'm scared of it.
Yeah. So what are the signs that your spouse is being visited by the other side?
Oh my God.
If Randy's anything like me, I would call her an energy sensor, where she can walk into a room and the atmosphere just changes suddenly, and it's the typical description of the hair standing up on the back of your neck, or you get that weird feeling like how you feel after you bite into a super sour pickle. It kind of like takes over your nervous system, and it's a good pickle, right? Yeah. But at the same time, you're like, God, this is tart. It's sort of that same feeling. It's like an emotional influx, like you're trying to swallow your sadness almost.
Okay.
It's the best way I can describe it. And I was also prone to sensing electrical appliances. Like I'd be in another room, and I would know when someone turned the television on just by sensing that high-pitched like that. No one else would hear it, but I would sense it. Same with the days of the disposable cameras, where you would have to push that button to engage the flash, and that super high-pitched squeal would come from that. It's just sensing a change in energy and atmosphere, and I attribute it to that. That's one way to know, definitely, that you've walked into something, almost like an imprint on the space-time continuum.
I definitely feel, there's, I don't know, I don't want to say like I'm super religious, but like I'm definitely very spiritual, and I meditate often, and I do believe in there's something out there, no doubt in my mind anyway. And so I would consider myself a spiritual person, but how does interacting from your perspective, like with energy from the other side that's maybe not there friendly, maybe that's stuck there?
And if it's not friendly, usually kind of like when you walk into the middle of an argument that just ended, and you can cut a knife through the hostility that's still floating around in the room between the two parties. I pick up on that a lot when I walk in. Someone's mad. I know it. I can taste it. And if it's a negative source of energy or a negative entity, you can almost feel the mass from it pushing against you when you walk through it or walk into an area where it's in existence.
Like, what's that cold feeling that people describe all the time?
That's a draw. atmospheric energy that exists around us. Sometimes it takes it from your own body heat, and that's the change from within, or the area itself, which I use a lot of equipment to test for this. Thermal imaging cameras or infrared thermometers will test both surface and atmospheric levels and drops in energy or temperature. Things that try to manifest will often draw from batteries, and if there's no other conductive source, it'll draw from you and make you feel cold.
Okay. So now here's a legitimate question. It's going to sound like I'm goofing on you, but seriously, like since COVID started, right? Like has the ghost activity been up? Like meaning like since we've been in, have the ghosts been like, well, I mean,
you guys are home a lot. I usually get the house to myself.
Yeah, step out a little bit. I mean, has there been more reports, or are you going out and investigating more?
There have been a lot of people sending me photos to analyze, a lot of people sending me a lot more videos to analyze, and I've been posting them like crazy on my YouTube channel. And
if people want to see that, where can they go to? What's your YouTube?
Oh, my YouTube channel is, you just go to YouTube and you put at the Neal Parks, and you can gain access to my channel, or just put in Parks Paranormal,
okay.
Parks Paranormal, and get access to my channel. And a lot of people have reported, and I did a podcast episode on this, an increase in personal encounters and activity in their own home during COVID, because they've been at home a lot more.
Yeah.
They've been experiencing and noticing things that they had never seen or thought of before.
And maybe you saw a ghost and you got to go to work. You're like, hey, I'd love to report this, but guess who's late? Me. I got to get in the car and get on the road, Seriously.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, I had a lot of things planned for 2020, like a sequel to the movie I did in 2000, and what year is it now? 2017, when we did Blood Alley, Chillicothe Makes a Movie, which actually blew up on Amazon Prime. I can't figure out why, and it won independent film accolades, but we were going to start filming our sequel for that, and that was postponed. A documentary series I was supposed to start on Discovery back in April has been postponed. And I had 3 signings canceled, and 4 different conventions and paranormal festivals canceled, and in-house investigations.
Can I get a coronavirus?
Yeah, man, it is rough, dude. But listen, the one positive thing out there that people can hear your ghost stories right now if they go to Bandcamp. And what's like a central website that you can? Is there like nealparks.com?
Actually, just go to Google. Google search is the best way to find me. There's well over 6 pages of information to contact me through. Go to Google and put in at the Neal Parks, Nealparks.
And they'll get you.
At the Neal Parks, and my email, of course, parksparanormal@gmail.com. And I had to do a major shift in gears last spring. I'd gone from writing horror and paranormal literature to actually illustrating my first children's book.
I can't wait to see that, man. That's going to be awesome, man. We're up against the clock. Well, I mean, come on. We have 5. Well, okay, so we now have 4 kids. Jaden's like an adult now, so
I know, I'm teasing.
But listen,
according to Mackenzie.
I wish we had more time, man. Thanks so much. I wish you good luck with the audiobook, and you're always welcome on the show. Happy Halloween to you, Mr. Neal Parks.
Happy Halloween to you guys. Thanks so much.